Mr. Baby Voice spoke so softly and so gently with everything that he said. Like right now, I feel like I'm still speaking louder than what he spoke. Why do you feel like you can't have it all? Like, what makes you think you can't have all of this? What makes you feel like this is it for you? That you have to sacrifice and give up certain things after you leave here? Anyway, I'm about to get to the lesson piece of some things right now. One really pivotal, one really defining moment, I think, in this date and what has spiraled into viewing things moving forward. We were talking about mental health and therapy. Somehow got on that topic. And if you know me, you know that's talk to me about mental health. Talk to me about therapy. Talk to me about these kind of things. I love it. He was the type of person, which is no slight to him, or there was nothing wrong. I didn't have any disgust or anything like that when he expressed this, but he was the person that is like, I don't need therapy. Basically, I have my brother if there's something that I feel like I really need to talk about, or I have one of my parents that I can go to for advice or things of that nature. I don't see the point in me going to therapy. What's his perspective? I respect it. Not everyone is open to the idea of therapy, even though I personally believe everyone can get something out of therapy. It doesn't have to be deep dive, childhood trauma, all of that. It doesn't have to be any of that. But I believe everyone can get a little bit of something from going to therapy consistently. But when he shared that, I was like, okay, that's really amazing that you have that, those kind of relationships that you trust and have been really helpful for you and this, that, and the other. And I explained, like, not everyone has that. Not everyone has a brother, sister, cousin that they feel comfortable with talking about certain things with, or maybe anything with. They may not have any of that. Not everyone has parents that are active and helpful and parents that you want to share these kind of things with. I'm one of those people. I hate to admit it, I just am. So I was saying like how I love therapy for the fact that this person, my therapist, is not someone who has any connection to anyone I know. And I could just show up however I need to show up that day. And not only will she just be a listening, but has the listening ear, but she also has the training and the background in communicating and connecting with people that look like me, that have a shared experience like me. She looks like me, so she herself may have a lot of these shared experiences, and I have never felt judged or anything like that. So it has always been a very, for lack of better words, therapy has been very therapeutic. I'm a huge proponent of going to therapy. That was one thing. And then the conversation led to me. I feel like it was a natural part of the conversation. I'm still trying to justify why I did this, if I'm being honest. But to me, in the moment, it led to me revealing something very traumatic in my experience that not a lot of people know about. I don't just talk about it. But for whatever reason in that moment, I felt comfortable enough to share. And what I shared normally, even with my therapist, would cause me to have like this tightness in my throat, would cause me to start to tear up, would cause my voice to shake. All of these physical responses, it's just how things have always been for me when I'm speaking about my emotions to someone, no matter what it is. It could be like, I didn't like when you didn't hold the door open for me, and my throat will go off with the tightness. It would feel tight. But in this case, when I shared what I shared, none of that happened. And that was the first time for me. But right now I'm more so reflecting on what I learned from that about myself. When I shared what I shared, I had none of that response. And it signified to me like, man, Candace, I am really proud of you for being able to communicate this to someone, even if it's a stranger, but you were able to do this without having that response to it, which to me signified healing and growth. And I even shared that with him. I was like, man, I'm actually really surprised that I shared that. Like, I normally would probably break down, if I'm being honest. The fact that I'm good, I'm honestly patting myself on the back. I told him that. I don't know why I'm so aggressive right now. I remember his response, the vibe of his response. I don't remember specifically what he said, but I remember it was like, it felt kind of joking, but also now that I think about it, maybe it was a little bit more serious than I thought. But he was kind of like, okay, it's getting late, isn't it? It's probably time to wrap up, huh? He didn't say that, but that's the feeling that whatever his response is signified to me in the time. Not too long after, we packed it up and said goodbye. And me being stuck off the high of the fact that I went on the date in the first place. These people complimented us in front of him, and these are things that I was thinking about the night before, like, what if this happened and they happened? This whole wind and putting on my jacket thing, as minor as that is, it was significant for me. And then me sharing about something very personal to me without having that emotional and physical response to it, all of that, I was on a high after that date. And again, not really much having to do with him. I did not realize that then, that all the things that made me feel like I was on a high after that date had nothing to do with that man. Not directly. So after the date, me still being in a high, I messaged him. I was like, I had a good time, glad we, whatever I ended up saying. He didn't respond until the day after. He didn't respond until the day after, claiming that when he got home, he KO'd, which I believed because he was laying down and low-key fought. The wrong kind of emotion is coming up for me right now. I'm getting very immersed in where I was when this date happened, however many months ago. So we're not going to get too much into that. But lo and behold, the conversation practically went nowhere. And because of that, because I was feeling the high of it afterwards and was like, oh, okay, I'm curious to see where this goes now. And it didn't go anywhere. When I realized it wasn't going anywhere, I was a little distraught, a little bit. Yes, I'm going to admit I was distraught over this one guy that I met for the first time and spent only a couple of hours with, and nothing really happened to build a connection between the two of us. But I was still distraught because I was like, I shared something so personal with this man and I felt comfortable in doing it. I didn't even have to think twice about doing it. There are all these expectations, I guess. I've come to realize after I spoke with my therapist about it, and she made me start to question, did you have all these expectations going into it? I didn't think I did, but I'm pretty sure I did because of the way that I felt afterwards, after it going nowhere. And the reason why I now feel like that experience has changed so much for me moving forward in my interactions with people, not just in dating, but just in general, is I learned, one, the power of vulnerability, and I'm still learning this, the balance of being vulnerable with people. I recognized that what I shared with him was probably a lot to hear from a stranger, because at the end of the day, we were strangers. It was probably a lot to take in on a first date. It was. And even though I didn't feel that way with sharing, from the person receiving it, I can understand simply that being like a bit much, especially for someone that doesn't go to therapy, doesn't have therapy. So I learned about balance. I learned about, even though I feel like I am in a place where I'm more transparent or more open, coming back up again, open to discuss certain things about myself and certain experiences that I've had that I used to shy away from because I was so tied to the thought that these experiences that happened to me are defining me. Like they define me in some way. And I have lately, this year, have been separating the two. Like, just because something happened to me does not make it define who I am and how I get to show up. So just because I'm in that space doesn't mean other people are. Doesn't mean other people are ready for something like that. So I learned a lot. After some heavy reflection there. And then I also learned, like I said earlier, this dating or even interacting with people in general is not just about me. It's not just about them, their perception of me. It's also my perception of them. I should be almost like an interview. I should be interviewing them just as much as they're probably interviewing me. It's a two-way. It's a two-way. For the most part, I felt like I had to dance and sing to attract whomever. And I'm not trying to do that anymore. I'm not trying to feel that way anymore. That was a huge lesson. Also, he didn't have it all together either. He didn't have everything that I wanted and desired. There was a lot that I did not pick up on from him that I was so in my high of what I did experience. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of looking forward to what the second date would look like. Mr. Baby Voice, like I said, the name is probably self-explanatory, but one of the really biggest things and the most annoying thing of this date, I didn't say, because I tried to look past certain things and was like, this is part of the process. But Mr. Baby Voice spoke so softly and so gently with everything that he said. Like right now, I feel like I'm still speaking louder than what he spoke. And keep in mind, we were outside where there were a bunch of other people, cars. The freeway was not too far from us. We were outside and he was speaking to me as if we were, I don't know, trapped in a bathroom or something like that and needed to whisper. I don't know. He just spoke so softly. Majority of the time when he spoke, I would say, what? I didn't say that. In my mind, I'm like, what? Speak up. But I said it more nicely, like, oh, my bad. Did you say that one more time? Oh, I didn't hear you. One more time. At a certain point that got annoying and I started to have to read lips and try to piece words together. That's Mr. Baby Voice. That's one of several things that I allowed myself to overlook and not think too much onto it, because I just felt like that's what you're supposed to do when you're dating. You don't pick apart that person, everything. If that makes sense, you don't pick a person apart on every little thing. That is Mr. Baby Voice and the many lessons that, or at least some of the lessons that I learned from that experience. And the lessons that I learned took time because, like I said, distraught. I was upset. I was like, what happened? Why? I've been ghosted, basically. I've been ghosted. What? Why? No explanation, nothing. A lot of questioning myself. Eventually got to a point where I understood what the lessons I had to learn in that experience were. And to be honest, to this day, every now and then, that experience of him and the date, not necessarily him in particular, but the experience of the date comes back up. And it's like, man, that's also connected to that. Or man, that's another lesson from that I didn't even know or didn't even realize. So yeah, that's it for story time. The one singular date that I went on this year that taught me so much. It's crazy how much it taught me. There are plenty more things, of course, that I wrote about, journaled about. I have a lot of affirmations in here. I have a lot about sad days where I just felt sad and could not understand why, but I allowed myself to journal about them and saw what came up. A lot of things that I did this year that I liked that I did. Several things of what I would like for my future self to look like. Oh, just quickly, I just flipped through another page. I don't know if I said this earlier, but my dreams have been on another level lately. In the past, when I would dream, I had the experience that I feel like most people have. At the moment you get up, you pretty much forget your dream. You forgot that you even had a dream last night. For the longest, that was my experience. Then there were pockets of I'm having dreams back to back, and I started to journal about them so that I can recall them and see what are themes. I remember this happened last year, and I'm not gonna get my other journal, but I even put sticky notes on all the dreams that I wrote about, and there are a lot of sticky notes. So last year I was dreaming, but this year the dreams came up another level. My dreams have been so vivid this year that sometimes I wake up and I have to remember where I am. I have to remember who I am. I have to look around my room and be like, does any of this feel familiar to me? This is my bed. This is my dresser. This is my closet. I am in my apartment. Sometimes I have those moments where I'm like, what? It's hard to explain. The dream ends up feeling so real and it's like when I wake up, I feel like this is the dream. It's crazy. Also, there was a night recently, a couple months ago, where I dreamed 5 dreams that I could remember. 5 dreams, and dreamt about them in detail enough that when I woke up, I was like mentally thinking about these dreams constantly. Throughout the day, I was thinking about each of these 5 dreams constantly and could remember very specific details about each and every one, who was in my dream, what we did in the dream, what the lesson may have been from the dream. Each and every one, 5 completely different dreams of completely different people in completely different settings. 5 of them things. 5! Every now and then I may remember 1 and 2 would be generous, but 5, I remember these 5 dreams so much that when I was about to go to sleep for the next night, I had to journal about these 5 dreams because I was like, I just need to get them out of my system because it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm looking at these dreams right now. I'm not going to read all of them. They're really random, but one I will highlight right now because it feels very pertinent to what I'm experiencing at this very moment, and I called it Granny and My Spirituality. And the dream was essentially this. I was in my current apartment that I am in now, except it was a completely different kind of layout. And my grandmother was visiting. I had told my property manager that I'm going to have to move out, or I'm preparing to move out because I could not justify the amount I was paying to live here. And honestly, I'm experiencing this right now. But in this dream that happened 2 months ago, When I told my property manager that I'll be moving out, they responded saying like, okay, we need to fill this apartment immediately. So we're going to start having people come view your apartment while I'm still living here, while all my stuff is still in here. People are going to come. I should be expecting people to come and tour my place while I'm still here. I guess I agreed to that. I don't know. There are 4 people that came one day while my grandmother was visiting. They came in and out, was doing their thing. And then at a certain point, I had to say, I need y'all to leave. I need y'all to go. They went. Then I was talking to my grandma about how sad I am about having to leave because I love my apartment. I love everything about my apartment, and I genuinely do. This space that I'm in now, sometimes I have moments where I'm like, it is a dream that I live here. It is insane that I was able to get in here. Literally, no exaggeration, met every single thing that I wanted in my next apartment. Pretty sure I felt the same way in this dream. And my grandmother's response was, and oh, before I get there, I was expressing to her how I feel like my next apartment, I'm going to have to let go of some of the amenities and the luxuries that I've gotten so used to that I really love having. My grandmother's response was, why do you feel like you can't have it all? Like, what makes you think you can't have all of this in another apartment? What makes you feel like this is it for you, that you have to sacrifice and give up certain things after you leave here? And then she asked me, what happened to your spiritual practices? Referring to basically like, I don't know, I don't really talk to her too much about spiritual things in my real life, in this actual life. But one of the things that I know that I did, that I didn't know that I did when I was looking for this apartment, and that I wasn't in my spiritual bag at the time, at least not the way that I am in now. But, and I hate to use this word, but it's the only word that I can think of. I manifested this apartment. Like I said, there was a list that I wrote down about what I wanted in my next apartment. There was a list. That list, I lost it. I lost it when I was moving and whatnot, but then I somehow found it and read the list and was like, everything, girl, everything. When do you get every single thing that you want? When does that happen? In any case, in any scenario, when do you ever get every single thing that you want? That's a rarity. I feel like it's rare. I feel like you at least have to relinquish or let go of one idea, one concept, one thing. No, I didn't have to. I did not have to. That is something that I am holding on to and taking with me and trying to believe that when it does come time to move, that I can still have every little thing that I want and that I desire without having to feel like I have to release so much or trade this experience for that experience. I know I said that was the last thing, but talking about making the list of the things that I want reminded me of something else that I remember writing about this year that is tied to this whole love, relationships, and Mr. Baby Voice as well, that I actually want to express. Okay, the final thing, and I promise kinda that this is the final thing. So after I sat with the failed date and started to then think about the things that I did not like in that date, in a way to like feel like, well, he wasn't that good anywhere. He did. Not in that way, but just like zooming out from all the things that I felt like I was in a high from, and like really assessing the situation for what it was. I made a list of things, and then I made an updated list of the kinds of qualities, the kinds of things that I desire in my partner. Some of it was a response to what I experienced with him. Others of it was like, what do I feel like I want in a partner right now? And my Mr. Man, my person, whomever he is, wherever he is, I hope he's doing good. I know you're great. I know you're working on yourself. I love that for you. I'm doing the same. Anyway, these are the types of things that are on my list, Bass in his voice. Speaks with confidence. Now that was a direct addition based on him. It's like I couldn't do the baby voice, and I'm not even I don't think I'm a loud person, but the fact that I am like, what? Pissed me off. So my person, he has a little bit more bass in his voice, and he knows how to speak confidently. Okay? Funny and goofy, because I'm a goofy girl. Not everyone gets to see the goofy girlness in me all the time, but I can't deal with serious all the time. I can't deal with mean, grumpy. No. So fun, goofy, right here. Not all the time though, because things got to get done. But anyway, sweet, kind, gentle, patient, and loving, working towards being well established. Working towards it. Doesn't have to be all the way put together, because I'm not. Working towards it, chill and mellow. He had that Mr. Baby voice. He was chill. He was mellow. He's not in the picture anymore. Beautiful spirit. That's probably one of the most important things to me. Just has a spirit that I view as beautiful. Like, man, how are you real? You are just a beautiful man, inside and out. Just envisioning that makes me happy. Anyway, I wanted to share that date led me to creating and updating my list of things, and have since I've added on to this. I wrote this also in May, and I'm sure I need to do another draft of this, but that is it, girls. 2023, I'm excited about, I'm excited about certain things. I don't know what my feeling in general, what my general feeling about 2023 is going to be. I will be doing some reflection on that closer to the new year, but it really feels good to have created, to make this video, to sit in front of the camera, especially for this long, and to share some things that I don't normally share with people. I don't normally talk to people about, but this felt nice. It felt therapeutic, if I'm being honest. I hope that this sees the light of day. I hope that I do something with it. So in the event that I do, in the event that you are watching this, in the event that you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope this leads you to reflect on your 2022, because I think it's worth reflecting on, really taking some time to think about the little lessons, as small as they were, the little things that may have had a bigger impact than you realize. I'll see you if and when I see you. Bye, y'all.